Hello, welcome to Special Report as we give you the latest updates from across the country and beyond. My name is Neshim Simbi. Well, Kenyans are in mourning, not just a series of floods, road accidents, air accidents, with the latest being the Chief of Defense Forces Francis Ogolla. We join in solidarity the families and friends of bereaved families and President William Ruto declaring a 3-day mourning period for the fallen soldiers. Well, the family of Chief of Defense Forces Francis Ogolla on Friday revealed that the burial arrangements were underway according to his wish. Speaking to the media, Ogolla's father Joel Okech noted that his son had expressed the desire to be buried within 72 hours if he met his untimely demise. He noted that the burial will be held on April 21st at his home in Alego, Songa in Siaya County. Further, they informed the press that the general had made plans to celebrate his father's birthday as he crossed 100 years on Saturday in Siaya County. Part of the plans involved attending a church service and also holding an event at home. Still on the same, retired General Daudi Tonje mourns the late General Francis Ogolla. Tonje expressed his grief over the loss of Ogolla and other soldiers who died in line of duty, highlighting their courageous and hard-working nature. As dedicated soldiers, retired General Tonje was the Chief of General Staff between 1996 and 2001. Let's listen in.
Alikuwa mtu shupavu, mwenye ujuzi mwingi kwa kazi yake ya kiaskari. Namna mnajua alikuwa mwanahewa na akafanya kazi kutoka akiwa second lieutenant mpaka awe mkuu wa majeshi. So na wakati huo akawa amesomea kazi yake, hata alikuwa mwalimu wa wanahewa wa pilot. So ni mtu ambaye alikuwa shupavu kwa kazi yake. Alikuwa angali mdogo na kwa wakati mwingi mimi nilikuwa mwalimu. Wakati alipoingia nilikuwa kwa Defense Staff College nikifundisha na yeye, kwa hivyo alikuwa mbali kidogo na mimi. Lakini nilioacha akiwa angali junior kwa kazi ya jeshi. Ni miaka 23 sasa tangu niache kazi. So bila shaka wakati walikuwa amekaa kwa jeshi kwa labda miaka 13 hivi. Yetu wakati tukimaliza kazi ilikuwa ni kuvutwa tu nje ya kambi, lakini juzi wamebadilisha jinsi wanavyopeana kazi, na ikawa hata sisi tulialikwa kuhudhuria sherehe yao ambayo ilikuwa ya kufana sana. Tuwaomba tu waache vita, waache kuibiana mali, waache kusukumana, na waishi kama wananchi wanaotii amri za nchi.
Moving on, senior leaders on Thursday paid heartfelt tributes following the demise of Chief of Defense Forces Francis Ogolla in a helicopter crash at the border between Elgeyo-Marakwet County. Shortly after the confirmation of Ogolla's demise, former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta paid his tribute and highlighting his pivotal role towards the military. He detailed that in his 10-year tenure, he had the privilege of working with the general General who served as the Deputy Commander of the Kenya Air Force, I beg your pardon, and finally as Vice Chief of Defense Forces. May the Almighty God rest the souls of the fallen generals in peace and grant fortitude to their families at this time of sorrow. Quick recovery to the two soldiers in this accident. President William Ruto has declared 3 days of mourning following the Thursday chopper crash that killed, among others, Chief of Kenya Defense Forces General Francis Ogolla. While making the official announcement of the death of General Ogolla, the head of states stated that the 3 days of mourning commence on Friday, 19th of April 2024. During this time, the Kenyan flag, military flag, and East African Community flag shall fly half-mast.
In honor of the life and the distinguished military career of the fallen general who lost his life not just while in office, but in active military duty, the nation will observe a period of 3 days of mourning commencing tomorrow, the 19th of April 2024. During this time of national mourning, the Kenya flag, the Kenya Defense Forces flag, the East African Community flag, and flags of all formations of the military shall fly at half-mast in the Republic of Kenya and in Kenya missions abroad.
Addressing the press on Thursday evening after holding a brief National Security Council meeting at State House in Nairobi, President Ruto said the military chopper crashed at Sindar area in Elgeyo-Marakwet County at around 2:20 p.m.
At 2:20 p.m., our nation suffered a tragic air accident in Sindar area, Keben location, 3rd Division in Elgeyo-Marakwet County. I am deeply saddened to announce the passing on of General Francis Ogolla, the Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces. Together with him in the crash were 11 other gallant military personnel, 9 who also passed on with him, and 2 survivors. The gallant military personnel who passed on with General Ogolla are Brigadier Swale Saidi, Colonel Duncan Keitany, Lieutenant Colonel David Sawe, Major George Benson Magondu, who was also the pilot, Captain Sora Mohammed, Captain Hilary Litali, Senior Sergeant John Kinywa Mureithi, Sergeant Cliffons Omondi, and Sergeant Rose Nyawira.
Ruto announced a 3-day national mourning period starting on Friday, 19th of April 2024 in honor of the fallen generals. Ruto said Ogolla and his entourage had left Nairobi on Thursday morning to visit troops deployed in the North Rift under Operation Maliza Uhalifu and to inspect ongoing schools renovation works.
A distinguished 4-star general has fallen in the course of duty and in the service of country. I convey my deepest condolences to all families that are grieving this untimely loss and our mourning nation as well. May the Almighty God rest their souls in peace and grant their families fortitude at this time of very deep sorrow. I also wish quick recovery to the 2 injured soldiers in this accident who are now in hospital. The Chief of Defense Forces on board the Kenya Air Force Huey helicopter had left Nairobi this morning to visit troops deployed in the North Rift under the Operation Maliza Uhalifu, and to also inspect the ongoing school renovation works in the following schools: Jesitet Primary School, Cheptulel High School, Chepoton Primary School, Ksa Primary School, and Saplimoi Primary School. As part of his working tour, the CDF had been briefed on the security situation by a multi-agency team stationed at Jesitet in Baringo County, after which he proceeded to the Kainuk Forward Operating Base in the Turkana County, where he addressed troops, commending them for their resilience and operational success.
Ruto said that following the crash, Kenya Air Force constituted and dispatched an air investigation team to establish the cause of the air crash.
Unfortunately, the aircraft crashed shortly after takeoff. This is a very sad moment, a moment of great sadness for me as the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces. It is a tragic moment for the Kenya Defence Forces fraternity, and it is a most unfortunate day for the nation at large. Our motherland has lost one of her most valiant generals. We have also lost gallant officers, servicemen, and women. The demise of General Ogolla is a painful loss to me, and certainly the sorrow we all feel about this passing on is shared by all of the people of Kenya, and most especially the KDF fraternity. The Kenya Air Force has constituted and dispatched an air investigation team to establish the cause of the air crash.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu, and Azimio leader Raila Odinga, among other leaders, condoled with the families of the bereaved in the country. Uhuru said Ogolla's leadership, bravery, and unwavering commitment to duty have made a lasting impact on the country's armed forces and the nation as a whole. He said, quote and unquote, the CDF was not only an accomplished military leader, but also a devoted patriot who dedicated his life to serving and protecting our beloved country.
Do swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya and to the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, that I will obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, and that I will protect and uphold the sovereignty, integrity, and dignity of the people of Kenya.
President Samia Suluhu, on her part, she said, I have received with great sadness the news of the death of Chief of Defence Forces of the Republic of Kenya, General Francis Ogolla, and 9 other soldiers in a helicopter accident on Thursday. I send my condolences to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenyan Defence Forces, William Samoei Ruto, all Kenyans, families, relatives, and friends of all those who lost their relatives in the accident. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga said he was saddened by the passing of the general. A terrible day for Kenya. My wife Ida Odinga and I are deeply saddened and profoundly shocked by the passing of General Francis Ogolla, the Chief of Defence Forces, who joined the nation in mourning his loss. Raila termed General Ogolla as a true patriot, a highly decorated soldier, and a consummate professional who served his country with unwavering dedication. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Mesh Msimbi. And the late General Francis Ogolla will be remembered as the shortest-serving Chief of Defense Forces in the country, so far having taken over the leadership of the military on April 29, 2023. President William Ruto's decision to appoint General Ogolla as the Chief of Defense Forces came as a shocker to many, following events that transpired at the Bomas of Kenya, where the former IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati accused senior government officials, including General Ogolla, who served as Vice Chief of Defense Forces then, of trying to subvert the will of the people. Our very own reader Chebet takes us through the life and times of the late General Ogolla.
The nation is coming to terms with the death of Chief of Defense Forces General Francis Ogolla. Ogolla was confirmed to have died in a chopper crash in Kaben, Marakwet East on Thursday. Ogolla was named the new Chief of Defense Forces in changes in the military in April 2023. He took over from General Robert Kibochi, who departed after attaining the mandatory exit age of 62 years. Before the appointment, General Ogolla was the Vice Chief of the Defense Forces. General Ogolla was a graduate of Ecole Militaire de Paris and the National Defense College of Kenya. He graduated with a diploma in International Studies and Military Science from Egerton University, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Armed Conflict and Peace Studies first-class honors, and a Master of Arts in International Studies from the University of Nairobi. He rose through the ranks to become a Major General and was appointed the Commander of Kenya Air Force on July 15, 2018, a post he has served for 3 years. Previously, he held various appointments in training, command and staff, including Deputy Commander at Kenya Air Force, Base Commander at Laikipia Air Base, and Commanding Officer in Tactical Fighter Wing. Other positions were Chief Flying Instructor at Kenya Air Force Flying Training School and Operations Desk Officer at Kenya Air Force Headquarters.
Congratulations, my very best wishes.
He also served in the former Yugoslavia as an observer and military information officer from 1992 to 1993, as chairman of the Military Christian Fellowship from 1994 to 2004, and as co-chair of the Association of African Air Chiefs between 2018 and 2019. Chief of Defense Forces is the highest ranking military officer in the Kenya Defense Forces and the principal military advisor to the President of Kenya and the National Security Council. He led the meetings and coordinated the efforts of the service commander, comprising the KDF, the commander of the Kenya Army and Kenya Air Force, the Kenya Navy, and the commandant of military intelligence.
Do swear in the name of the Almighty God.
President William Ruto explained why he picked Ogolla as the new Chief of Defense Forces. According to Ruto, Ogolla's experience spanning over 39 years saw him promoted to the high office in the country's military to replace Robert Kibochi, who retired.
In considering your appointment, I assessed your background, where you've come from, what you have done, your journey in the military, and I am satisfied that you merit the office. You have my confidence. You have the confidence of the government of Kenya to discharge your responsibilities in your new office. It is my expectation that the professional standard of the Kenyan military will be observed under your leadership.
In a televised address to the nation from State House in Nairobi, President William Ruto said Ogolla boarded the Kenya Air Force Huey helicopter and left Nairobi on Thursday morning. He said the KDF was on a trip to visit troops deployed in the North Rift region under Operation Maliza Uhalifu and to inspect the ongoing school renovation works in 5 schools. The president said Ogolla was to inspect Chesitet Primary School, Cheptulel Boys High School, Chepoton Primary School, Kesa Primary School, and Sablimoi Primary School as part of his working tour.
The Chief of Defense Forces on board the Kenya Air Force Hiwi helicopter had left Nairobi this morning to visit troops deployed in the North Rift under the Operation Maliza Uhalifu, and to also inspect the ongoing school renovation works in the following schools: Jesitet Primary School, Cheptulel High School, Chepoton Primary School, Ksa Primary School, and Saplimoi Primary School. As part of his working tour, the CDF had been briefed on the security situation by a multi-agency team stationed at Chesitet in Baringo County, after which he proceeded to the Kainuk Forward Operating Base in the Turkana County, where he addressed troops, commending them for their resilience and operational success.
The president said Ogolla and his entourage then departed from Kainuk to Chesagon in West Pokot County, where he launched the rehabilitation of Cheptulel Boys High School. He then departed Chesagon for the Recruits Training School in Uasin Gishu County, where he was scheduled to inspect construction facilities at the institution. Unfortunately, the aircraft crashed shortly after takeoff at 2:20 p.m.
The Chief of Defense Forces and his entourage departed from Kainuk to Chesagon in West Pokot County, where he launched the rehabilitation of Cheptulel Boys High School. He then departed Chesagon for the Recruits Training School in Uasin Gishu County, where he was scheduled to inspect construction facilities at the institution. Unfortunately, the aircraft crashed shortly after takeoff. This is a very sad moment, a moment of great sadness. For me, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, it is a tragic moment for the Kenya Defense Forces fraternity, and it is a most unfortunate day for the nation at large.
General Ogolla now becomes the shortest serving Chief of General Staff, having only assumed the reins of power on April 29, 2023, after taking over from retired General Robert Kibochi. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Rita Kering Chebet.
We've come to the end of Maisha Special Report. My name is Mesh Msembe. Have a lovely weekend.